He's stuck. He's traveling. He changed his flight.
Oh, okay. So just us three?
Just us three.
Oh, okay.
Oh, a good podcast then.
Oh, yes.
Brian's drinking beer again.
8 in the morning.
Ex Cold Rock star. Baby.
Hello, my friends.
Record.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 40 of 2024. I'm Chris Louie, the better-looking version of Mike Shinoda, and we're having quite the heat wave in the Bay Area for the month of October. With me, I have my co-host, the Cloud God, who is currently on tour and also experiencing this heat wave.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say I got suckered into coming to the Bay Area. I left my house, I think it was like 72 degrees. I got here, it was 97. I'm like, I didn't even know, like, why? And nothing makes sense. Like, this is October. I thought it should be fall. And that's like, that's like peak heat, bro. That's so wild.
Yeah,
So,
this is Phoenix temps.
I'm telling you. Not even close, but poor Victor's in the back end of his head right now. He's like, add 4, subtract 3. That's like 32 Celsius, I think.
Times 9, divided by 5, minus
Yeah.
32.
What's that in
Doing all the math.
What's that in international metrics?
It's what, 30, about 35, 36 C.
No, not that hot.
Yeah, should be.
That's
right
what it is. 97 is about 96, 36 C.
Is it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All I know is 32F is freezing.
Yeah, it's quite warm here.
Where's Glenn?
And we do not have Glenn Medina because he's stuck in Seattle, or SSG, Seattle Stuck Glenn. He'll hopefully be back next week, which we intentionally moved this to a time that was inconvenient for the three of us, just for Glenn, and then he goes and ups and changes his flight and says, oh, guys, I can't make it.
He's a prima donna, you know? I think he just walks on water. But I think it's also because he heard that Victor was going to be on the show. He was pissed.
He's
He's like,
scared.
"Oh, not again."
Victor's going to boomerang. I guarantee it.
No, Glenn was
Time
just
will
scared.
tell.
It's part of a WWE drama. It's he's scared of showing up because I'm here.
Are you into the WWE?
Not at all. Are you?
I mean, no, of course not. But when I was your
Isn't it-
age, I may have watched a couple The Rock, Stone Cold
Isn't it
Steve
the
Austin.
United States national
WWE
sport?
Raw.
Yeah, I think it's your national sport, isn't it?
Yes,
No,
yes.
I think American football is probably our national sport.
Or politics? I don't know. Whichever you you prefer.
You know, you can make fun of sports all you want, but politics, you guys own that show as well.
Our guest this week is the returning guest and first-time Mac owner, Victor DeLuca. Congratulations are in order, and I'm told from the pre-show that you actually can tell the audience what the good news is.
Ooh, what's going
or,
on?
or the bad news. What the bad news?
Or the bad news.
Yeah, I'm changing jobs. I'm leaving Zscaler, unfortunately. After 3 very good years, I've decided to join a startup based in New York called Nagomi Security. So looking forward to it. And that's why I'm now a Mac owner. I was coerced into owning an Apple device for this job. So just received my Mac a couple days ago.
So a startup based out of New York, that's kind of unusual, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I think it's like the second
So
most
usually
popular
like
city for...
no, the real startups are always either in San Jose, the Bay Area, baby, or Tel Aviv. I don't think New York. It must be something to do with money. You're trying to steal money.
One of those private equity guys out there.
Yeah. What is it? What is
Can't
the?
comment.
What is Niogi? What I can't even say the name. What is it called?
Nyogi.
Niogi.
Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. What does Mr. Miyagi do? Is it
Nagomi,
wax
so
on,
it's,
wax off?
Yeah, well, I haven't started yet, but it's a continuous threat exposure management company. So it aggregates configurations from all the platforms, Zscaler, Palo Alto.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
You're just peanut butter and jelly, man.
Isn't that what Avalor is? I'm sorry. You left one
Yeah, you
company to go.
You don't really know your product line, do you?
You left a platform to go sell a point solution. All right, got it.
Maybe they'll get acquired for
That's what he's hoping.
400 million.
Yeah, maybe I'll be back here next month,
The next time we see Victor, he's going to have male pattern baldness, and he'll be begging to come back. He's not going to like the start of life.
Yeah, a lot more gray hairs.
No, joking aside, hopefully it's a good thing for you, man. You kill it. Are you like an IPOer? Is that what you really? Is that the draw there, or is it to do something bigger?
What do you mean, the IPO being the goal, or?
Yeah, is that like really the main intention of it, or is it just to go there, start off small, build something cool, and then walk out with your
we're just
guns
starting.
Blazing?
So yeah, I don't know if IPO is the goal, but it's definitely to scale the business, grow the product. I'm looking forward to it, being very close to product management, influence of the product, and hopefully get a couple customers in the East region that I'll be covering. So everything from Miami to Montreal. Yep.
I have a feeling like Victor's the kind of guy, like if he strikes it big at the IPO, he's going to renounce his Canadian citizenship and move to North Dakota.
Hell yeah.
For the weather alone, it would make sense to him.
For the weather alone.
Buy a bunch of RPGs and shoot at cows.
In North Dakota is a little bit of the Wild Wild West, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, they do love their freedom up there. I guess it's not that far from the Canadian border, so I'm sure you'll find a nice town up there. You can
maybe Wyoming. Wyoming would be the spot, right?
Or Montana. Yeah.
Yeah. Jackson Hole.
Combined, we have decades of information security experience in here, not just to educate, but to entertain.
We only have decades.
Awesome
10 years there, 10 years here, and like 9 months behind with Victor on the phone.
I don't know. I'm up to a decade now.
Okay, whatever. Your high school hacking social engineer stuff doesn't count.
That's you, man.
Technically, it does. It's experience. Yeah, it doesn't have to be work experience. It could be his LimeWire days of seeding back orifice or one of those things.
I was in the Army 10 years ago.
Chris?
I was in the Army 10 years ago. I had been in the Army for a year.
Giant asterisk, the Canadian Army. That's not the same.
Yeah.
That's
true.
like lower than the National Guard. You understand? That's like
at least he served. He didn't resign right before his unit was shipped out.
True, but no, that's like running security at Bank One Ballpark. That's what you were doing.
Equivalent.
Just a bayonet.
That was a mall park. That was
mall
a mall
security.
Paul Blark over here. Paul Blark. Just kidding. I have no idea.
Awesome stories. We got 4 awesome stories this week. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I was waiting for Victor to join so we can get a Gen Zer's point of view on these topics. This week, we're going to talk about kids being bad with money, a serious Navy OPSEC fail. For our third topic, can you hear me now? And close with the worst job for relationship talk.
I'm sorry. I identify as a Gen Zer, so I can give you perspective on this as well.
All right, sounds good. Brian's a Gen Alpha in disguise. For our first topic, a gang of 20-year-old kids managed to steal, wait for it, $243 million worth of cryptocurrency from a single person back in August in a highly sophisticated social engineering
Let's
attack.
go. Good job, kids. I'm telling you. Way to just move the ball forward. Why sit there and play games all day? This is slow clap these guys. 443 mil. All right, let's go. Next story.
I want to hold off on that golf clap.
Oh, okay.
The threat actors targeted a Genesis creditor by calling in as Google support from a spoofed number. They followed up with a phone call from another spoofed number as Genesis support, telling him his account had been compromised, and tricked the victim into resetting his 2-factor authentication code and sharing their screen via the AnyDesk remote desktop application software to access private keys from Bitcoin Core and steal the funds. There's a link in the description. There's a live video of the attackers transferring these stolen funds, and they're celebrating like how 20-year-old idiots would celebrate after stealing $243 million. Once they had stolen the funds, they split it multiple ways and used crypto mixers to launder the money into other cryptocurrencies. The attackers, now flush with cash, purchased more than 10 luxury cars, going out to clubs in LA and Miami, so based in the US, boneheaded move there, spending $500,000 or more per night of partying, and buying high-end handbags and giving them out to random girls they meet at the club.
That's the mistake.
Yeah, that's a
Everything
simp
else
move
before
right
was
there.
good. That's the mistake. Yeah.
What the heck?
There were OPSEC fails all around. They recorded themselves doing the crime and they posted it online. The problem is that they leaked their real name in the screen recording. So they even go through it and check to see if they accidentally put their real name. No, just post this video online for online clout. The geniuses also posted all over social media about their new lavish lifestyle, and girls who received their free Hermes Birkin handbags also posted about it on their social media accounts.
Well, crap happens, right? Like, what's actually, I mean, are they going to go to jail for a really long time, you think?
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to throw the book at them.
Really? I bet you they're out in 5 years. They get to write a book. There'll be a Netflix documentary on it, and they'll be just fine.
5 years is still a good amount of time to spend in prison.
In good behavior, be out in 3.
I mean, it's fraud, sure, but it's like they're just typing on computers. I doubt it's going to be 15, 20 years. I don't know in the U.S., but hold on. Let's take it back here just a sec. They stole all that money, $243 million from a single person?
A single person, yeah. So I think there's a lot of fail here. So first of all, you have $243 million sitting in a not cold wallet. Well, I guess Bitcoin Corp, no, I would argue that's coldish, not thawed. Like, this should be printed on a piece of paper in a safe somewhere. Like, shouldn't be sitting on somebody's laptop, especially in one wallet. And then you're smart enough to have 243 million, but you're stupid enough to install any desk on your computer and let random people remote into your computer. So first of all, I don't like the victim blame here, but I'm sort of blaming the victim here too.
You're messed up, dude. Well, what if that, like, $243 million is a lot of money to us, but like, what if that was like 5% of his actual wealth?
It's like a rounding error for him.
Yeah, it's like, I diversify. I have some in cold storage, to have some, on the whim in case I need to buy a yacht. You never know. People are geniuses.
But it was hosted on an exchange, if I'm correct, right? It wasn't like a cold wallet. It was on an exchange. That's why it got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Bitcoin. It was stored in the Bitcoin Core, which is stored on your. It's not a hot wallet, like it's not an exchange where someone can hack into your account. They have to hack into your actual computer. So the wallet file was on the computer, and they extracted the private keys from that wallet file, which allowed them to import that wallet into their own machine and then steal the money.
You would think,
so
though,
that's
that if
even
you
more
had...
interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because they found someone that they knew that particular person had an extensive, or various, or at least one very expensive wallet, and then they hacked into that person's computer, found the key, and then used it, which is interesting, because you would imagine that someone that has 250 million plus in wealth has some security measures. They're just not laying that. They probably have a dedicated computer. I would have a dedicated computer OS or something.
Yeah, you probably have a dedicated Mac OS locked out.
Not bad.
It's so secure you can't even get into it without waiting a week to hear back from Apple.
I'm telling you, this guy had
PTSD.
He probably has $1 billion in crypto. Like, I'm telling you, and he has got way too much money in crypto. He's an idiot. He was probably talking about it at a Starbucks or something. These kids overheard it. Targeted victimless crime, if you ask me.
That's also the OPSEC field. This is very targeted. They obviously knew this person had the money.
So how much of that 243 million did they spend? Did it say?
I don't think they said how much they spent. They only put how much they recovered. It was in the low single digit 1 millions that they've recovered so far. So this person so far has been pretty hosed. I don't know if they'll be able to get much of it back. They used tumblers. They used multiple exchanges. They spent a lot of it. I mean, they get
that part was good.
They'll take back the cars and sell it, but spending $500,000 a night at a nightclub, like you're not getting that money back, and they probably snorted a lot of it. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Do you think there's a recourse that they'll come after these ladies that they were giving purses to? Like, this is stolen goods, give it back. I doubt it, right?
Oh yeah. So I have here in the notes. So I have 2 questions here, and then we'll get Victor's point of view on it. So number 1, why do Gen Alpha, which is these 20-year-olds, they're Gen Alpha, why do they post about their crimes online? First of all, like, if I stole this money, I wouldn't tell anybody, and there wouldn't be any signs of it. I definitely would not post proof of my crimes online. And then second of all, why did the girls post about getting the bags online? So now they know exactly who received these stolen goods.
All right, Victor, why would you post a crime online? And then I'll tell you why I would do it, because I identify as Gen Alpha.
It's so easy, dude. Come on. Like, people have been flexing since the inception of time. Like, that's just... And you're smart, because you said, oh, I would hide it, I wouldn't show it, I wouldn't... Yeah, because you're smart, but stupid people have been flexing since the inception of time. It's just different. Every generation does it. They just do it differently. You know, like, some people, like Brian, will buy a very expensive car. You know, they're going to record it, send videos. It's just a different, you know, these kids. Overpriced pickup truck. They'll order another one and then another one, and for no reason whatsoever. They just feel like flexing on us peasants. But yeah, it's just a different way of flexing. These guys thought that maybe that's the life they wanted to live, and they lived it for 2 weeks, and that's it.
You know, Victor did flex with his Mazda Miata purchase recently, so there's that. But no, you're right, man. I think it's for they're doing it for the gram, right? They're just over here trying to get fake internet points. The only way this could have been any worse is if they did this and posted on Reddit with all those losers.
Probably we've gotten to that point where people just overrule common sense just because they want these fake internet likes, and that's more important than, you know, not going to jail.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real. It's like it's just pixels on a screen. Like, none of it feels real. 243 million in bitcoins. It still feels like it's not real. So I can understand. You can get warped into it, and you just forget that you stole the equivalent of, like, I don't know, 100 banks in 15 seconds. Like, you don't really realize it.
All of Montreal's... Go ahead.
You know who doesn't feel the need to flex? Satoshi Nakamoto. Like, this guy is a multi-billionaire, or gal, it could be a gal, we don't know who the real identity is. Multi-billionaire, has not moved a single Bitcoin in the history of Bitcoin. Like, we know... It's
because they lost
exactly
that shit. That's why.
Wallet. I know, that's the theory. Satoshi's either dead, they lost access to the keys, or they're just very, very disciplined and waiting for the right time to come out.
So how long until I just, like, use Gen AI just to brute force a crypto wallet? Just spit me out 16 random things. I just keep doing it until I hit the lottery.
That's quantum. We have to worry about quantum.
It's doable. Yeah, there's a finite number of possibilities. That number is just really, 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 really high. Yeah. So it's definitely
just like RSA
doable.
Keys. It's doable. Given enough time, given enough computing power, it's doable.
Yeah, but it's probably not worth it, because it's probably in the billions of dollars. So I'm not even sure if it's worth doing it right now. But it's getting cheaper every year. So maybe at some point we'll reach the tipping point.
Quantum resistant crypto.
Mm-hmm.
That's still crazy though. 242 million, and again, so these threat actors are sophisticated enough to social engineer them, get the money, launder the money, cash out the money without setting off all these alarm bells. And the reason they get caught is just because they brag about this online. It's like, yeah, you're really brilliant, but you're also really stupid at the same time. It's kind of weird juxtaposition on both sides here.
What are the odds that after they get out of prison, that they did such a good enough job laundering the money that they still have money left over and never get caught again? I bet you that's
probably the case. Yeah, it's like those bank robbers that bury their stash of cash somewhere, and then when they get out, then they get a payday.
Yeah, that's what I
was watching some dude. He was fishing safes out of a river, and they actually found a safe that had money in it. And he's like, and it's like stacks of cash. I'm like, that money's black, right? Like, it's just all rotted. He's like, you just take it in, dry it off, take it in the bank, they'll exchange it. I'm like, there's no way that's true. I think it's actually true.
Yeah, I think as long as you have 51% of the bill and it's legible and they can tell it's real currency, I think they have to take it.
Of course you would know that. Freaking nerd.
All right, for our second topic,
Wait, you didn't answer the rest of the question about the girls.
What was the rest of the question?
Why do girls post stuff getting in bags online?
Right. Yeah, free bags.
Oh, it's the same. Yeah, same. Flexing, just different gender. Yeah.
It's like if you got this bag, you're at a club. It's like fairly anonymous. They don't take your name or anything down in a club. You get this bag, you walk away with it. Like you can keep it free and clear, but you post this bag online. It's like, hey, I got this free Birkin bag at the club last night, and then guess what? The cops are gonna seize that because they know that it's stolen property. And then you posted proof online that you actually have it.
Yeah, that's
so I used to think that
unless of course you lost in like a tragic boating accident or something, and say I don't have it anymore.
Like the Dark Trace CEO.
Oh, was it?
Or co-founder?
Yeah, it was a CEO. Yeah, co-founder.
What did he say happened?
Too soon.
Well, you're saying that about the Birkin bag, but I'm looking at your profile picture, Chris, right now, and there's a very big Panerai next to you. So, maybe for the girls it's the Birkin, but for you it's the Panerai. So.
Well, the reality is, like, I used to think that the bags were like kind of stupid, but I think like some of the higher end bags. I guess if I'm going to say that they're stupid, that means that watches are stupid because they become more of a family heirloom.
Yep. They become more valuable. Yeah, like Rolex does because they artificially keep the supply low and they raise the price every year. So the resale value on Rolexes are quite high. And same with like a Birkin bag, the same thing. They raise the price every year. And as long as you keep it in good condition, the resale value is fairly good. And I think when I looked it up for this store, I think a Birkin starts at around 12,000 and they can go up to like 50,000 for a handbag. And that's US. I don't know what that is in Canada bucks.
Millions.
Birkin? I never even heard of that. Don't tell my wife. I'll need to have to find out new ones out there.
All right, Brian.
All I know is
the company is HERMES. How do you pronounce that?
Hermes. Hermes.
Hermes.
There's no Z in Hermes. Hermes. It's Hermes.
Yeah, actually, I trust the French guy.
So I thought, like, there was a point in time that my wife was into bags, and I remember buying her, like, she wanted to get like a Coach bag, and I was like, oh my God, $300 for a bag? Fudge, man. Like, I was like, all right, so, saved the money, got it for her. And then it just evolved, and then one day it's like, oh, I want a Louis Vuitton. I'm like, God, man, that's a lot of money. And so then, there's a point in life where I felt comfortable enough to be like, telling my wife, I was like, hun, let's go get you a bag, like for your birthday. And I'm like, knowing full well that I've hit the pinnacle of life, right? However much you want to say a Louis Vuitton bag is, like, I got the money for it. We can get it for you. She's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah. She's like, all right, I want this bag called like Celine or Salon. I forget the name of it. I was like, this must be like a Coach thing. And I get there and it was like 3 times the cost of a Louis. I was like, I thought Louis was at the top of this goddamn pyramid scheme.
No, sir.
It's just
man.
I have news for you.
That was rough, man.
Yeah, it's like Rolexes. Rolexes are the same. People think they're the pinnacle.
Yeah.
They're just the starting point.
Yeah, and you get up to like PEBCAK or something. So pretty high end.
Yeah.
Richard Mille and all the others.
Yeah, I was the same. Like we weren't married yet. So my then girlfriend, now wife, wanted a bag, and it was a Coach bag. I'm like, oh, I made it. I actually saved up enough to get this nice gift for you. And then it's like, yeah, $300 Coach bag, and then it just goes up from there. And that's her great. She's not really into bags. She just has that one, and then I got her a nice one for her birthday this year.
So money's no issue. What watch do you guys want?
Ooh.
I like the PEBCAKs. Like those are timeless, and the saying for PEBCAK is like, you never own it, you take care of it for the next generation. I think that's true of PEBCAK. Like Rolexes, everybody has one, and it's not as exclusive as they used to be. But I do like the PEBCAKs.
I don't think I would even know a PEBCAK if I had seen it. Like, I'd be like, whatever.
I would go for the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak collaboration with Alex.
Is this on your vision board? You seem to really know this.
No,
very specific watch.
People know. People who know. It's a really cool collaboration that they did together, and it's similar price point to PEBCAK, very similar in quality, but it's a very specific watch. But I think it's $40,000-$50,000. Impossible. Doesn't make sense.
I think I need to ask my son, when we were in Taylormina, I think is how you say it. We were looking at watches, and I think that might have been the watch that he was talking about, the collab. So it's
the AP.
A watch, a watch manufacturer. And then is it like a designer? Who's the guy again?
Alex.
This Alex? No last name?
No, it's not a name. It's
Madonna brand.
Yeah, it's not a first name. It's just the name of the brand. 1017 Alex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they started at, I think they're selling for 40, 50,000, and now they're going, used for 200. So.
Jesus.
Yeah, on the resale. Yeah. One of those other things, they keep it artificially low and limited.
Yep.
Insane.
I do like the Royal Oak Offshore. I always wanted the Las Vegas Strip edition because I used to spend, in my youth, I spent a lot of time on the Las Vegas Strip, the black and the red one. That was a nice one.
Yeah.
One day, maybe.
You guys are nerds. I love it.
All right, we got a podcast to do.
Oh, yeah.
For our second topic, a U.S. Navy chief concocted a scam to smuggle a Starlink terminal onto a U.S. warship so they could check Facebook and sports scores while out at sea. Typically, people in the armed forces have very limited and controlled access to the internet for obvious reasons. If you post a selfie of you and the boys at a forward operating base in Ramadi, well, now the enemy knows where to point their mortars and get a lot of good people killed. This Navy chief snuck a Starlink terminal on board a warship and shared it with other people of the senior staff in exchange for money. The Wi-Fi network was named Stinky, and when people started asking questions about the rogue Wi-Fi network, she changed the name to look like a wireless printer, except that the ship did not have any wireless printers on board. Even after that major OPSEC fail and putting the ship and entire crew in jeopardy, she was only demoted and allowed to keep her job. Just as we saw in the Martha Stewart case, the crime was bad already, but it was the cover-up and lying to investigators that got her into real trouble.
So by smuggle, do you mean she just packed it in her backpack and brought it on board?
Yeah, pretty much did that. And then they had to mount it to the top of the ship because you need line of sight to the satellites. They just found someone random to pop it up there. And I think she just lied. She said, this is authorized. It's for in-port use only. And then just lied her way through it.
Can you imagine just walking by and seeing a Starlink thing and this is blue cable dangling down from the top of a ship into someone's room?
I think that actually happened. Someone did a sweep and hey, what's this rogue network here? And then they took it out, and then the ship's chief said, oh no, that's authorized. We're supposed to have it there. Then they put it back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, as someone that's been in this similar situation, not that I smuggled a Starlink terminal, but when you're either out in the woods or out at sea or in an exercise for 2, 3, 4 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, it really sucks. There's no internet. You're out of no contact with outside, friends, families. It's difficult. And it really is worth its pound in gold. I get it. I get it. And honestly, it's very difficult. And not in every situation you get Wi-Fi or internet or any form of fun other than bringing a book. So I get it. It's awful OPSEC, but I get it. I understand why. So kind of like I like the Wi-Fi network name, Stinky. That's
Stinky.
That's gold.
Yeah.
And then that's what people they're using their own devices and what's this Wi-Fi network? I've never seen this before. So I mean that was an OPSEC fail there. Hide the SSID because you just raise suspicion otherwise.
How quickly though did that password just get shared? Because think about it, if you don't know about this because you don't have an iPhone, but generally speaking, if we're on the same network or we're shared contacts, it comes up and you're trying to get on it, I can just boom hit share password with you, then it just spreads like wildfire.
Right. The chief tried to control that, and I don't know if there's additional controls, but it said she would enter the password on the user's device and then not give out the password. But then I guess you could do MAC address filtering on the device, maybe, if they were smart enough to do that. Just to allow authorized devices on.
Yeah.
Anyone else surprised it was a woman that did this?
Why, Brian?
No, why?
I don't know. I am. It seems like it's a really kind of a number one. You're a U.S. Navy chief.
Yeah.
Number two, you think you would know better, right? And then, is this kind of a bonehead move?
You still haven't given us a good reason about the gender difference. Do you think women know better than men?
I do think so. Yeah, I do. I think men are idiots and they do some really wild things. And I think women are a little bit more level headed, especially if you move all the way up to I would assume that if you're U.S. Navy chief.
No, hold on.
People got a Facebook.
Men, so you think women should be in position of power. So you would elect that person as president of your country, right?
No, what I'm saying is that I wholeheartedly believe that women are smarter than men, but I also believe that dogs are smarter than women. So
that's the hierarchy.
Yes.
Dog for
elect
president.
Dog for president.
Dog for president.
Doge for president.
A random golden
Doge has my
retriever.
vote.
Exactly.
It's actually good. I'll plug another podcast, Darknet Diaries. If you listen to episode 149 that came out last month, there's actually a really good story in here about what life is like out having no internet. I actually sent it to you, Victor, because the guy was in the Canadian Army and he was responsible for communications, and there's the morale network to keep morale up. And then it's just a good story. I'd recommend. I'll link to it, and that was a good episode.
Yeah, the SIGs have a bunch of really good stories. I have a bunch of friends that were in the SIGs, like signals intelligence and signals. Just in general, they really have some of the best stories ever because they see everything. They work a lot in the intel space. They work a lot in the network. They just do everything, and so everything goes through them. Establishing a new base, retiring a new base, a new fob, anything that is just happening, they know, and so they have the best stories usually. Yeah.
Also goes to show how far we've come, how good Starlink is now, that you could be on a warship in the middle of the Indian Ocean and you can still check Facebook. Like that's how far we got. I mean, it used to cost like people for private jets and yachts and stuff, it would be like millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Now for a couple $100, just pop up a Starlink terminal and you're connected.
What do you want to bet that if you had the ability to go to Elon and be like, dude, what were they watching and doing on the ship? It was just like
I'm sure
99%. Yeah, it's like 99% of it was TikTok. I'm like, oh, that's you put all of our lives at danger just so you can scroll and watch people. I don't even know what TikTok is anymore, but I would assume just doing stupid dances.
TikTok.
So, I mean, in the article it said like they wanted to check Facebook and sports scores and stream YouTube. That was about it. And they said only do it in your own room so people don't get wise to it. But then, of course, people would just be watching in public, and someone would say, "Hey, how are you able to watch YouTube?"
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, sure. That's a politically
You don't like
correct
your
answer.
own individual rooms. There, I mean, maybe if you're far up, you do. You probably
the senior officers did, and the senior officers were the only ones that were allowed access to it. And I don't know, they charged like $50 a month or something to get in on this scam.
I feel like I just heard something like, wasn't it for a long time? A lot of the U.S. Navy ships they were only male, and now they have co-ed ships.
Submarines for sure are male,
or maybe
only.
submarines. Yeah,
I don't know about warships. I think warships they desegregated that. I think it's been a while for that one.
I can understand doing it at leadership of having some diversity up there, but yeah, I can imagine, bro, 6 other dudes and just the only one in the room on YouTube.
Give me that.
No, guys, you understand? I saved it before I got on here, but they just said October 2nd, 2024. I know this is a cool feature you guys don't know about.
Right, for our third topic, can you hear me now? Good. Verizon here in the U.S. suffered an embarrassing nationwide outage on September 30th for almost 8 hours, where most of their wireless members completely lost service. At its peak, over 100,000 users complained on Down Detector that their services were not just degraded, but completely turned off. People said their phone was in SOS mode, indicating that they had no cellular, voice, or data services, and as a result, all carriers who depended on Verizon's towers were also disconnected. Perhaps the only saving grace for late iPhone model owners is that the satellite text feature that was added in the latest iOS 18 allows iPhones to communicate with satellites with line of sight, and as long as the user keeps pointing their phone at the satellite, you'll be able to send and receive messages. For some people, it was the only means of communication. previous versions of iPhone and iOS allowed for voice-only calls to emergency services, but the latest update added text message capability. Your move, Android.
Well, at least Androids don't get locked, so.
Vic is so bitter about that. He's locked out of his Mac.
Yeah. 6 more days.
What was your password again?
Oh. My password's...
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, since you brought it up, my password was in a password manager, and I haven't changed it in 3 years, which may or may not be good practice, but anyways, it's not working anymore, so... Apple may or may not decide to brick my device in 6 days. We'll see.
Good job, buddy. So let's go back to topic here, instead of just roasting him. How long do you think it takes to send a text message over satellite? Hey, honey, I love you. I'm okay. No service. You just stand there holding your phone out in the sky.
I think you're divorced by the
time.
You're divorced by the time it comes back.
I've already moved on. I've cashed in on the life insurance and moved on.
Who actually uses Verizon, though? That's the weird part.
They used to be real popular here in the Bay Area because every other service was crap except for Verizon. But everyone's caught up now, so I don't personally know too many people that still use Verizon.
I wonder how or what did it? I didn't read the article. Did they say what they actually did? But no, it's not explained. Never mind.
That's the weird thing is that they I remember when Facebook went down globally. Like the next day, we had an RCA when CrowdStrike went down. Like within hours, we knew what happened. But for this, they've been very tight-lipped about it. They would only say that services are back up, reboot your phone, and that's it. That's the last we've heard of it. It's been 5 days since this happened, and we still don't know what really happened. And if you go on InfoSec Twitter, which I like to dive down that rabbit hole. I've heard cyber attacks. Somebody said cyber attack. They selectively hit these power stations that power these cell towers. I'm a little skeptical of that one. The IMEI number scramble, I think, is maybe more plausible because every device has a unique number. Think of it as it's not the device serial number, but it's a unique identifier to the carrier, what your phone is, and just the fact that every phone basically said it was out of service could mean that they lost track of the IMEIs. They got scrambled and they didn't know who had an active subscription, who didn't. Or the last one, just human error, fat finger, someone pushing up a bad update.
Yeah, I'm going to lean on the whole, probably a fat finger, right? Because it took 8 hours and I'm sure they're like, who did what? And you're like, whew, man, like I did something super bad. I don't want to tell anybody about this. And there are people that are like that. They're just like they rather just pretend like they didn't do anything, and then eventually you get found, you get exposed. But that would explain why it would take 8 hours to kind of recover from that.
It's just a VM.
And I think it was a cyber attack. Oh yeah, what if it was a cyber attack? Like we're holding you ransom for $243, $1 million. $1
million in crypto.
Now we know. Yeah, exactly. What if story 1 and story 2 are actually interconnected, boys? That would be wild.
I know for Facebook, when Facebook went down globally, it took them either 8 or 16 hours to get back online. But that actually made sense because they said like their card readers were internet connected and they couldn't even physically get into the data centers. Like that makes sense. But for Verizon, a global outage, it's like, yeah, well, why did it take that long? And why are you being so tight-lipped about it?
Is Verizon, so I don't know the landscape in the US, but is Verizon sort of like a tier 1, like infrastructure owning telco?
Yeah, the big three: AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile.
So they resell to like hundreds of
a tier 2.
Yeah. And were the tier 2 also impacted?
No.
Yeah, anyone that relied on Verizon towers, which I think Google might. I think Google Fi is a combination of AT&T and Verizon, I believe.
So Verizon's really good in the outlying areas where everyone is normal. Like if you're in the city and you're in a red state, it's always going to be makes everything's good. But if you go out into the sticks, it's usually Verizon that's out there, mountainous terrain. But it used to be good when it was CDMA, but then they switched over to GSM and it's like, mediocre.
Yeah, CMA was good, especially in the big cities like when I worked in San Francisco and you're just surrounded by concrete buildings. Verizon was very good because it could get through the concrete. But yeah, like you said, Brian, now they switch to GSM and they're about equal to everybody else.
So, anyways, long story short, probably a lot of hillbillies were impacted by it.
So Brian says, Fat Finger, what do you think caused this, Victor?
I'm gonna go with Russia.
Russia.
The hell with it, it's
cyber attack.
Yes, I mean,
they're always interfering.
If they're not being very clear with an RCA posted the next day, I'm thinking it has to be complex, like difficult, or they don't even know yet. And most of the time, if it's very complex or they don't even know yet, it's not a fat finger error because you could just go back into the logs or trace back to something. So yeah, I would go cyber attack. I would go IT disruption of some sort. Has to be. Because it's been 4 days now?
Yeah.
5 days?
5 days, yeah. Still no word.
Let's say they don't do the RCA, but they do their earnings report, and they're just like unexpected, event. We had to pay $500 million in crypto somewhere. That Victor was right.
Or they got ransomware.
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility too, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think that you could have gotten for that? If you shut down all of Verizon, right? And you're just like, you don't get nothing, right? If it was ransomware and it was good stuff, right? You're not getting out of that by calling the FBI and they're like, oh yeah, we have the backdoor key to pull this out. It's real deal. It's there. You got to pay. Do you think they did a knee-jerk move and paid it?
They might have. I mean, it's millions, hundreds of millions of dollars per hour of downtime. And I don't know what kind of restitution they're going to give to our compensation they're going to give to the victims. Maybe they'll be like AT&T and say everyone gets $5, but only if you're the primary line. Like if you have 5 family lines, you still get $5.
$350.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll get.
I'm sure they'd be willing to pay.
Yeah,
because CDK paid $75 million, I think it was, to bring their systems back on, and that was only car dealerships. But you think of a nationwide cellular outage, that's probably hundreds of millions they could get away with if they had no viable path to restoration.
I bet you they lose less than 1% of people because of this will move over to AT&T or T-Mobile.
Probably. Yeah, if it was Russia, like the big brain move to do would be like what Russia did to Viasat right before they invaded Ukraine, which is log into these terminals and write a bad firmware on it so you lose remote access to it and it bricks the device, and then you have to go through and replace them one by one physically. Like it was some kind of sophisticated cyber attack like that. Like maybe that would be the way to go, but we'll see when it comes out. For our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week, this week we're going to talk about what jobs are a turnoff for a serious relationship. I know Brian clearly didn't read the notes in advance, so I'll go first. I think jobs that require constant travel. I actually have somebody in my fairly close circle. They're a consultant. They work for a consulting firm, and 5 days a week they're in a different city. They're either in LA or Texas or DC 5 days a week during the weekdays, and they only fly back home for the weekend, and Sunday night they're out flying out again. I think that's probably very straining on a relationship, the mandatory constant travel.
Yeah, there was a point in time where I think my wife told me, she's like, you need to find a new job or else this is not going to work out with the travel.
Was that the first wife?
No, it's the second wife. So it was obviously just find a new job. There was no other or else. But no, it was actually, I built a light board instead.
There you go. It's only productive still.
Yep. I think another one is that I hear outside of what you have written right here is the police officer or firefighter. And then not even the badge bunnies being the problem, just the reality you can lose your life. I think it's too much on some people.
Yeah, I think that and the constant stress of it too.
Yeah, did I ever tell you guys about the time I went to like a poker thing with it was me and then like 12 other dudes that are all police officers.
I don't remember. Enlighten us, Brian.
Yeah, so we're sitting there and like, oh, they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a nerd. And what are you guys up to? Oh, cops. And so as the night progresses, they're just sitting there talking about what they have to experience like day in and day out. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, this happens all the time. Like, the murders, the abuse, like you name it, like just the craziness that they have to deal with, the kidnappings, just horrific stuff. I'm like, and they're just, they're just casual about it. Like, oh yeah, that happened the other day and this, that, other thing. I'm like, man, this world's messed up. I had no idea.
You get desensitized to it at some point, I guess.
Well, you do, but you also like live in this bubble of like, my life's good. So there's nothing like that happens around me, but no, it happens everywhere around you all the time, right? Because these are police officers in my same city and stuff. So.
And it's like, you could just be out on patrol, someone blows through a random traffic stop. You never know. This person could go off and could potentially lose your life. Like, you just never know.
Yeah, people are psychos, man.
But that's also the
so
good
I would
part.
think that would add up a lot.
That's the good part, though. It's sexy. Like, it keeps you on the edge. Like, think about it. It's like you never know when it's the last time you see her. So.
I don't know if you want to be on edge every day of your life for like 40 years. That'll start.
Victor loves edging.
But if I had to answer that question, I wouldn't date a Prisma Access sales rep because I know she's lying 24/7. That's it. I can't be doing that.
Liars. The second one I have here, working when you should be socializing. So this actually happened to me because when my wife and I graduated from college, she had to work at night. She had a normal job, but then they were like a almost 24/7 agency. She worked the 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift 5 days a week. And that was also brutal. Like, we couldn't have dinner, or if we did have dinner, it'd be on her dinner hour. I just have see her for an hour and then she had to go back to work, or friends wanted to get together on Friday night. Nope, she can't get together. And then Saturday rolls around and then she's sleeping in until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's like, yeah, it definitely takes a toll. And I think other jobs like this would be like restaurant people and chefs and like bartenders, where their busy night is the night that you should be going out, but then that's the time that you work. So I think that took its toll for sure.
Yeah. Keep going, Chris. This is good. I have comments on it.
All right.
This
Social media
list.
Influencer.
Yeah.
So I put some thought into this one, and I browse Reddit occasionally, and then someone posted like, what's the best and worst thing about dating a social media influencer? And I'm like, well, it's from my side of things as the content consumer, I'm like, oh, that's cool. You get to travel. Some of these ladies are fairly attractive and like that. That's cool. And then the people that are dating them say, oh, it's awful. It's awful. We're just always on. We can't just have a nice dinner out. It's like, you have to get this angle of me, get the shot of me. I have to set up the shot. And there's somebody that works in tech that posts a lot of these TikTok videos and I watched the video and it seems natural. Like, she comes home and she jumps into her boyfriend's arm and say, yay, thank you for wishing me such an awesome happy birthday. And then I think about the production that went into that. You had to set up the shot. You had to decorate. You had to rehearse this. I'm sure this was like the 5th take that you did. And like, nothing is natural anymore. Everything is just set up. And the other bad thing about being a social media influencer is everything's always out there. So if you have a fight, expect it to be posted online.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't compete with the internet. If I'm looking, if my wife is a social media influencer, and let's say it's this PG, but she's got 6 million followers, you can't compete with those dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Always got to be sliding into her DMs.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't do it. I don't know how people who do it survive. I would be dead inside. I know someone that is dating a social media influencer, and it's like you said, placing the bipod, recording 5-6 takes. Every time you go out for a coffee, you go out for a walk, it's being recorded, posting thoughts, answering questions, video this, video that. Nothing feels natural. It's would be hell for me. I would absolutely would be hell. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last one I have, it's sort of related to the first one on constant travel, pilots and flight attendants. there's actually a parent at my kid's school that's a flight attendant, and I was like, that doesn't. I mean, it seems like a fun job, but I think that'd be hard because they have 2 kids and a husband that works, and you're just gone for days sometimes.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it'd be a rough one.
Yeah, because you're always in a different time zone too. So it's even. I don't even know what their schedule looks like. I heard like they work 20 days out of the month or something, but those 20 days must be very brutal. It must be awful.
Yeah, I'm sure it's cool when you're young and you don't have a family, but once you start to have a family, you want to have a serious relationship, I'm sure it's difficult.
No doubt.
Yeah, I feel like that person would be useless because I almost feel useless sometimes. If I'm traveling a lot, nowhere near what pilots or flight attendants do. Like your brain is in a different time zone. It would wreak hell on you.
And I'm sure the amount of infidelity for both of those pilots, flight attendants, and people that travel off work is got to be higher than average, above average, I would say. Just the opportunity and being away that long, I'm sure at some point you might give in to temptation. So,
if you're a scumbag, you're a scumbag.
Difficult for relationships, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, since I carried that conversation there, and I don't think you have anything else to add, well, we continue to get great comments about our Dad Joke of the Week. Dad Joke of the Week. This week, our guest, Victor, is up.
All right, I'm going to try to do better this time. So
you got to redeem yourself, Victor.
Why do Australians suck at chess?
Because they ran somewhere.
Because they don't even know how to check, mate.
All right. I was expecting technology, but you came home on that one. All right, good job.
All right. You redeemed yourself, Victor.
As Glenn would say, womp womp.
Womp, 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 womp. All right, to wrap things up, if you steal $240 million, STFU, a Navy commander really needed to check Facebook. You cannot hear me now, and don't date a bartender. That's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all listeners and subscribers. Rate us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify, and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. For my co-host Brian Deitch and our guest Victor DeLuca, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Bye, Felicia.
CSG will be on the pod next week, hopefully.
Probably not.
And stop.
Oh, I wasn't recording.